So, what's the difference in the field of oncology 20 years back and today?
Today, if I don't read for 1 month in oncology, I'll be outed.
If a young medico wants to enter into the field of oncology, what kind of personality they should have?
Somebody who's afraid of facing the mortality, they should try to avoid it.
What's the job difference between a government hospital and a private corporate hospital?
You have a steady and stable career in government. In private, no, you have to deliver.
Where do you see this field going in the next 10 years?
I think it has already gone huge in leaps and bounds. Huge.
How do you think AI is going to affect the field?
You can see कि यार ये AI जॉब खा जाएगा. I can see is that कि मेरा काम कहीं और डाइवर्ट हो जाएगा.
Do you think the field of oncology is too much commercialized now?
My answer is no, that's not true.
If I ask you what is the salary of an oncologist in India, immediately after DM 10 years down the line and 20 years down the line. Hey guys, welcome to the Nachiket Bhatia show. And today we have a very special guest. The field of oncology has been named as one of the top 10 most booming branches by most of our guests. So I thought, let's invite a medical oncologist. And guess what? We found an esteemed member of the field with more than 25 years of experience. He has trained at KEM Mumbai, Tata Memorial Hospital, and AIIMS Delhi, and has been able to set up a boutique cancer hospital in Delhi itself. We talked about everything oncology as a field, what it was 20 years ago, what it is today, and how AI is going to shape it 20 years down the line. Is doing DM right now a compulsion for every physician or just a distant dream? Is oncology really the booming branch? Let's put our hands together, and to answer all these questions, let's invite Dr. Amish Vora. So, Dr. Vora, welcome to the Nachiket Bhatia show.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
सर यू हैव हैड एन इलस्ट्रस करियर. आपने देश के कई बड़े बड़े हॉस्पिटल्स के अंदर काम किया है. यू हैव लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस थ्रू आउट. तो सर बिफोर वी गेट ऑन टू योर फील्ड एज एन ऑन्कोलॉजिस्ट, आई वुड लाइक टू नो योर जर्नी. हाउ डिड यू स्टार्ट, हाउ डिड यू एंटर टू द फील्ड ऑफ MBBS मेडिसिन? कैसी रही सर?
So I started my MBBS journey from KEM Hospital, Mumbai, where I did my MBBS. Then I did my MD from Mumbai only in Bombay Hospital. Bombay Hospital was attached to JJ Hospital. During MD, I listened to a lecture by an oncologist, and that's how I got interested in the field of oncology. Then I worked in Tata Hospital, Mumbai for 2 years as a non-ACAD SR. Then I gave an entrance exam for DM in AIIMS, and I was fortunate, lucky enough to get through AIIMS. After doing my DM in AIIMS, I went back to Tata Hospital because that was like my alma mater, and there I was there for 5 years. I joined as assistant professor, then left as associate professor. I worked in a pharmaceutical company because somewhere I felt I wanted to have more exposure. So that's what brought me to Delhi from Mumbai. And their headquarters was in Gurgaon. 1.5 to 2 years in that field as a medical director, somewhere I felt that I wanted to go back to the clinic. And that's when I joined Max Hospital and worked in Max Hospital for 6.5, 7 years. And then I started my own center called Hope Oncology Clinic, which is situated in Hoskas. In between, after passing out my DM, for 7 months I was in NHS, Cardiff, and for 2 months I was in UCSF, San Francisco.
Amazing journey, sir. Truly amazing.
I know. God has been kind.
सर कैसा लगता है जब आप यू लुक बैक ऑल दीज इयर्स?
अच्छा लगता है, बहुत अच्छा लगता है. आई डोंट रिग्रेट एनीथिंग. मतलब I think I never wanted to become a doctor. I wanted to become a chartered accountant like my father. And something then happened and I joined MBBS and then I never looked back. Still enjoying being a doctor.
Must be a difficult decision. The father wasn't onto you कि नहीं CA बनना है?
No, in fact, he didn't want me to become CA. And I wanted to become like him. And he said that there are a lot of nuances of CA, difficult life. He said, quote unquote, very boring life with CA run. I accepted and then I joined medicine. In fact, my mother was instrumental in making me join MBBS.
So tell me about your KEM days and what actually makes KEM special. I have asked this question multiple times to people from MAMC, AIMS. I'll ask about KEM.
I think how it happens. You enter Medanta, for example, Medanta Hospital. You see the magnanimity and you see the brand and you hear the word Dr. Trehan. I think half of you are already sold out to that name. Same is with KEM, one of the oldest hospital run by municipality of Mumbai. Every department you can name in the field of medicine they have. You don't have OPD charges, you don't have so many IPD charges. It runs like any other government hospital. The teachers are the one what make KEM as KEM. I still remember all the teachers, and they try to shape up. KEM is supposed to be a very studious place. Of course, if you want to have fun in MBBS days, all of us can have fun. We're supposed to be a studious, all toppers in 12th standard. It was a joke, like in our batch of 200 people, I was just asking people that, who were the school toppers? And 47 were school toppers. So that is one. Second thing, KEM introduced me to also sports. So I was in their cricket team. I was captain of table tennis team. We used to do some plays. It was overall the growth was there in KEM, and yes, the fundamentals were very good. You name anatomy lab, you name physiology lab, or pharmacology professor, or medicine ward. Even I remember neurosurgery ward a lot because it was documentation was far better than any other corporate or private hospital also today.
Yeah, I've been to KEM. मैंने lecture दिया एक दो बार वहाँ पे ना
Okay.
first second year को.
Oh,
मैं जब वहाँ गया, so I realized that that is one of the very few colleges in our country where they don't follow the sir ma'am culture. Not much hierarchy was there.
Nachiket, you are too young as compared to me, but during my time, the sir and ma'am was there. But ragging was obviously not allowed. So it was only verbal talk with seniors, which was there. I think seniors was no, we were not compelled to call seniors as sir and ma'am, like in many other hospitals where I had heard. I don't think any senior ever gave me any work. ये journal complete करो या हमारा ये काम करो. That was not there. And I saw that I never did it to my juniors, my seniors never did it to me. So it was not, yes, partly you are right that it was not actually sir ma'am culture. True. They are teaching and so-called sanskars. तो उसमें कहीं पे भी they are very humble people. मतलब मेरे प्रोफेसर मुझे अभी भी याद है कि अगर कोई ओपीडी हैवी हो गई तो आके प्यार से बोलेंगे यार रमेश जल्दी करे क्या करके ऐसा. Nobody ever force upon themselves on anybody else. I think live and let live. Their main motto is आप MBBS ज्वाइन किया तो पढ़ाई करके जाओ. मतलब that is what they say. Second, during MBBS times in Mumbai, during my time, the party culture was very rare. तो हम लोग सीधे बच्चे के जैसा घर जाते थे. I was always a day scholar, never stayed in the hostel. So घर जाते थे, वापस आते थे. I think it was more of a very humble background, and that's how slowly over the period of years, those cultures set in. And I don't remember calling sir to any of my seniors ever.
Do you believe in the sir ma'am culture that is going on?
No. I still like, even now, people who I say like you are 20 years younger to me. We just spoke about it. I would love if you call me Amish rather than sir, ma'am. Why? Why would you call somebody sir? Respect needs to be earned. It is not to be told, right? So I think our work speaks for itself. Now don't say that kabhi ye kitabi baatein shuru kar diya. ऐसा नहीं है. I truly believe. I don't believe in sir and ma'am culture.
नहीं, हम तो नॉर्थ इंडिया के हैं ना.
हाँ,
हमारे
I
मुझसे
know.
अगर मैं अमीश कहना भी चाह रहा हूँ निकलेगा ही नहीं. मेरे को सर ही निकलेगा देखते ही.
I agree.
So tell me, how did you land into the field of oncology? Because even at that time, it must be a difficult decision.
Yeah, it was. In fact, medical oncology was not a very well-known this thing. So I'll tell you, when Tata Hospital was built, it was 99% built by surgeons. So there were 6 surgeons who worked for 22 to 23 hours a day non-stop to make Tata Hospital what it is. At that time, when the field of medical oncology started, there was one small OPD room in the basement, and there were only 3 chemotherapy drugs available in India to play around with. So that was, around 15, 20 years before I decided to join oncology. I listened to one lecture by an eminent oncologist, hematologist from Vellore, Dr. Maman Chandi. I got interested in the field of hematology, and then I started looking around, and I saw next 20 years it's going to be the plethora of innovations. And that's when I said I will never get bored in this field. And that is the reason I decided. And I just walked in Tata Hospital. Tata Hospital was across KEM Hospital. I just walked in and I said, I want to work here. Can I work? And then I never looked back.
Most of the doctors are not good at planning. और उसी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने के लिए I have created this planner. Plan your day, plan your goals and execute them on a daily basis. ये मत सोचो कि रैंक 1 आनी है. ये सोचो कि आज के दिन पे मुझे कितने टेस्ट देने हैं, मुझे कितने MCQ मार्क करने हैं और मुझे कितनी वीडियोस देखनी है. रैंक 1 तभी पॉसिबल है जब 365 दिन आप अपने गोल्स अचीव कर पाओ. इसको एक बार यूज करके देखो and give me your honest feedback. Is it really that helpful?
So oncology was a proper calculated decision or
It
a
was.
branch that you were just getting because you were not getting any other branch?
No. So I did my MD in pediatrics. I did DNB in pediatrics. I wanted to become pediatric cardiologist or a medical oncologist. I had two options. So there was DM in medical oncology and there was no DM in pediatric cardiology at that time. And I realized that 10 years from my time, if you don't have a degree, you'll have a lot of problems. In fact, one of my professor in Tata Hospital, Dr. Purvish Parik, literally forced me to go and do DM because he also was of the opinion, and I see today, that if you don't have the degree, then it's going to be a tough journey. Today, if you take any advertisement in any government hospital, they will say DM stroke equivalent or DM stroke DNB is the eligibility criteria in the field of oncology, especially medical oncology. So if you don't have that, then it's a tough journey. So for me, either it was a pediatric cardiology or medical oncology. It was a calculated decision. Surviving is again a choice. In the Animal movie, if you would have seen, the Ranbir Kapoor says that happiness is a choice. So similarly, survival is a choice. If you are happy, I personally of the opinion how the Indian healthcare is going. And if you want to keep financials also in your mind, because we just spoke that I believe money is not everything, but money is a lot of things. So if you want to survive well, if you want to do well, then you have to be top of your field. If you are happy, MBBS karke, there are so many GPs I see that they are so happy, they are so content. If you are happy, then go ahead and do it. But otherwise, yes. Unfortunately, healthcare in India recognizes more and more degrees rather than just the experience. So you have to take that degrees and move forward.
So what's the difference in the field of oncology? 20 years when you were learning 20 years back and today?
So if I look back, when I started doing my medical oncology, it was new branch. I was 99th DM medical oncology in India. So not even 100th. We didn't know what decision what we have taken, it will, pan out well. A lot of researches were happening, a lot of new drug innovations were happening, but they still didn't materialize during our time. Cardiology was at the peak demand at that time. And cardiologists, many a times, we could feel that they are laughing at us. क्या मेडिकल ऑन्कोलॉजी ले सब मरने वाले यहाँ पे करके. वी आर ऑल्सो नॉट वेरी श्योर कैसी होगी करियर, क्या जॉब मिलेगी, क्या खुद से कमाएंगे, क्या करेंगे. दैट वॉज देयर. Also, second thing, even today, I'm sure we will discuss as we go forward, even today, we are not taught the finances. Neither was I taught at that time, nor I don't think that we are taught now, which I felt we should have been. And करियर पाथ 10 साल बाद मैं क्या करूँगा क्लियर नहीं था. And these were the things, but the fun of learning something new. Oncology is totally different. मतलब suddenly आपको कैंसर वर्ड सुनने में आता है and suddenly you realize it's something different. I still remember my first chemotherapy patient, my first day in Tata Hospital. उसका absolute neutrophil count was 0. TLC was 400. I remember I went to lab and I told them पागल हो गए हो क्या, रिपोर्ट गलत है. तो लैब गाय asked me, पहला दूसरा दिन है? बोला हाँ पहला दिन है. बोलता आराम से 10 दिन बाद आना. It is a completely different world altogether. So we learned, I thoroughly enjoyed learning oncology. Also, at that time, cure was less compared to now. A lot of frustrations about the mortalities of the field. 8 out of 10 people walking in my OPD, I knew that they are not going to get cured. They are going to die soon. That was little bit of nihilism also was there. Slowly now, the way innovations are happening. Today, if I don't read for 1 month in oncology, I'll be outdated. Very simple. I asked my cardiology friend, last कब तूने 10 journals पढ़ा था? बोलता 6 महीने में एक बार हम पढ़ लेते हैं. For us, it's an everyday affair. 30 out of 52 weeks, I'm in a conference, either attending lecture, presenting a lecture or moderating a session. And in that fact, we are learning from each other, the new things.
It's a very demanding specialty.
Demanding in what sense?
I think even if we talk about knowledge at this age also, if I talk about as a senior doctor, you are still studying so much to keep yourself updated. And if, for example, a field like cardiologist, as you are saying, he's doing something in 6 months, you are doing every day.
Yeah. It's not demanding. That is what you are here for, right? So you are doing such a wonderful job, Nachiket, about this podcast. And I was looking at some of the videos. It's so informative for doctors. If something new happens, won't you be thrilled and excited?
True.
And the knowledge never stops. You always learn. I feel so happy when I learn something new. And if that is going to be applicable in teaching your patient next day or the next week, I think it's worth it. I would not call it demanding. I would call it challenging, yes. And it keeps you on the toes and you're never bored.
So, sir, as per you, if a young medico wants to enter into the field of oncology, what kind of personality they should have? And what kind of personality should clearly avoid this field?
I know 2 people who quit oncology. So let's start from there. One person in that person's family, the brother died of cancer. And he left oncology in 6 months' time because in every dying patient, he used to see his brother. And he said, I just couldn't cope up. And the second person who left oncology because he said he's doing nothing because majority of the patients are dying. And he left. So somebody who's afraid of facing the mortality, I think still oncology is a high mortality field. And people who are emotional about it, they should try to avoid it. It's like somebody who is a bent of, say, I decide to choose dermatology, I decide to choose psychiatry, and I decide to choose neurosurgery versus oncology. All have different perspectives, different mortalities, different thought processes. So depending on each and everyone's bend, I think somebody who wants to take it very easy, probably oncology is not the field for that. You have to learn every day. You'll have to keep learning for next 40 years. I can say that. And you know that you have to hit your head against the wall. There is no door. Create the door. And these are the people I feel should enter oncology. It's an amazing field. Cancer incidence is increasing day by day. So we have to fight and find a way for that.
So, can we call it a high impact, high burnout branch?
High impact, yes. So I know all my seniors, not a single one has burnt out and retired. So those who are, senior to me, they are still enjoying and they are still practicing. I can't recollect anybody who has retired because they have burnt out. But yes, slowly it will come. ICU, for example, is the highest burnout branch. You don't see any ICU forget about HODs, but ICU consultants who are 55, 60 years of age. It may turn out to be like that, but I don't think it's a burnout, but high impact. Yes, I agree.
So if you have to give me the pros and cons of this branch, what would they be?
Okay. Pros would be it's a high impact branch. We discussed about that. Very fulfilling, satisfying if you want knowledge every day. It pays well. You become financially independent as soon as you can. The cons would be yes, you are on your toes all the time. You take the vacation, but in your mind, the patient. And what happens is that, see, imagine somebody in you're known to has cancer. You have reached out to, say, me. You constantly want me around that person, even if in the ICU, everywhere, because they feel cancer is like, it's a terminal thing. So you always in your mind, you are always on the toes. You need to have empathetic discussions day after day, month after month, year after year with the patient's relatives, sometimes 3 times a day. You can't get tired of that. So that is something which I would say is the con. Um, Also, slowly, the field is getting saturated, so people are have to be aware. And third thing is those who are not financially savvy, those who don't understand finances, I would put it that way. It would be also one of the con.
So why are finances so important in this branch?
No, everywhere.
And normally,
Isn't finances important in medical field, in electronic field, in engineering field?
especially for the branch, how important it is?
No, I am looking doctor as a general. Doctor, engineer, chartered accountant, businessman. Ultimately, everyone looks at the financial aspect also, right? You want the world class ICU. You want all the machineries in your ICU. You want all the facilities in the ward. You want the hospital to be spick and span. There is financial planning involved there. I was talking of those finances. So those are important.
So how financially rewarding this branch is? Let's suppose if I ask you what is the salary of an oncologist in India, like immediately after DM 10 years down the line and 20 years down the line.
You want the exact figures?
We can have the exact figures.
Okay. Those who pass out DM, and so beginning salary as of today is anywhere between 3 to 5 lakh rupees a month. Once you are 10 years and you have a good, reasonable good practice, and you are able to understand what patients want and how it goes, it ranges anywhere from 10 to 15 lakh a month. And very senior, it's a different ball game. It's like, how you negotiate with your hospital, how big your team is. Sometimes huge numbers are there. So that's what I said, that a medical oncologist is quite financially stable if they do their job properly, ethically, and smartly.
What's the job difference between a government hospital and a private corporate hospital for a medical oncologist?
I try to think about this all the time. I think so. Let's look at the numbers. The number of patients are much
That,
higher in
okay.
government hospital. They pay less, but you would have seen the media and all. They are equally demanding. All my friends who are working in government hospital, they also say the same thing, that patients are equally demanding. They ask thousands of questions. So it is no longer a difference now. Research is free flowing in government hospitals. You want to do something new, something different, you want to take some break, and you want to do some research. Yes, that's what the government hospital allows you to do. You have a steady and stable career in government. In private, no, you have to deliver. We all know about that. So these are the few differences. Otherwise, the line is little blurring between the two.
Sir, have you ever felt that the corporate hospitals are giving targets to the doctors?
I have never been given target. Okay. And I kept hearing that. Again, I think since this podcast is, you said, primarily for doctors, I would say, Nachiket, let's be fair to everyone. Today, I am demanding a certain salary. Okay. मेरी औकात X की है. और मैंने जाके वाई मांग लिया. वो वाई अमाउंट मेरी औकात से 10 गुना ज़्यादा है. Hospital says, okay, fair enough, Dr. Ora is from Tata, from AIMS, let's hire him. As a management person in the hospital, because you have run your own company, you're running, what would you want from somebody who are giving very high pay? You would want some returns, right? You have your SOPs कि हम इतने ethically करेंगे, इतना काम करेंगे, इतना SOP से काम करेंगे, लेकिन the end of that you need returns. So we doctors also have to understand that कि मेरी औकात से ज़्यादा अगर मुझे पैसा मिल रहा है, either I go to the management, and I know some doctors and they say कि no, reduce our pay this much because this is what we can deliver, and it's a win-win situation for both. टारगेट देने की ज़रूरत ना पड़ेगी अगर हम लोग भी सोचेंगे. अब मैं ये सोचूंगा कि नचिकेत इतने बड़े घर में रहता है, मुझे भी इतने बड़े घर में रहना है, और मैं जाके बाहर जाके निगोशिएट करूं, आई एम ऑल्सो नॉट राइट समवेयर, राइट?
तो सर द लाइन वो जो कहते हैं ना बिटवीन एथिक्स एंड अनएथिक्स वो पार कर जाते हैं बहुत सारे डॉक्टर्स स्पेशली इन कॉर्पोरेट. क्या ये बात
No, that's not true. Whether it is corporate, whether it is a government, whether it is somebody running their own clinic, one of the lawyer told me that ethics is always bigger than law. ठीक है, वो आपके माइंड में रहता है. So I don't think ethics can be compromised at any point of time. Those who are unethical, I think that's a different ball game altogether, different discussion I would not enter. I have seen the highest ethical people in the corporate hospitals, and I have seen the other way around in the government hospital and clinics. Every profession has both sides of people, right? You take it lawyers, you take it policeman, you take politician, you take engineers, chartered accountants. You get, Karl Marx always said, I think 100 years back, you get the government what you deserve. Today, if I don't shy away from bribing some person, if I break signal on the road, if I am doing that, my children are seeing me and they are learning the same. So similarly, there are black ships everywhere. But as I said, I can with pride say that I have seen some of the highest ethical doctors in the corporate hospital and who are earning extremely well.
So what would be your advice to a new oncologist who have just crossed DM? Should they go with a career in a government hospital in the start, or should they directly enter maybe a corporate hospital or a private practice?
I think what helped me a lot, although I started my private practice a little late, but what helped me is my exposure in Tata Hospital after my DM. And even AIMS has something called as a pool officer. So if you do your DM MCH and you become a pool officer for 2-3 years, you work in the department, help them grow, and you also grow. I think 2-3 years. इट्स लाइक नाना पाटेकर कहता है ना प्रहार मूवी में कि हर किसी को, कोरिया में है ही, हर किसी को 1 साल आर्मी की करना ही पड़ेगा. आई थिंक सिमिलरली आई फील 2 years of government practice after DM. So I'll give you a very small example. It's a true example. I used to run OPDs for all my consultants in Tata Hospital. जब मैं SR था तो मैं सारे कंसल्टेंट की ओपीडी जाके चुपचाप निपटा के आता था, एंड दे ऑल यूज्ड टू लव के करता है. व्हेन आई बिकेम अ कंसल्टेंट एंड माय फर्स्ट पेशेंट केम ऑन माय नेम, आई वेंट रनिंग टू माय कंसल्टेंट, सर ये मैं ठीक कर रहा हूँ ना? दे सेड, रमेश कल तक तो तू पूछ नहीं रहा था, कल तक मेरे पेशेंट देख रहा था, तब तक तो पूछ नहीं रहा था. So you get the confidence, slowly, because ultimately, see, we are working with human lives, right? Unfortunately, very little scope of error is there. Of course, we all are going to make mistakes till we are alive, but you want to minimize that. I personally think is that working in a high volume place definitely shapes you up. And before you venture into private practice or start your own, I think a few years in the high volume, I would say, not just government, but in a high volume in some position of assistant would help the person shape up.
So how soon should a oncologist start their private practice?
Very interesting question. I started late. I started 10 years late. Okay. So I would say is that if you're DM or if you're DNB from a particular institute, it's a government institute, all you need to is hone your skills interacting with the patient and taking independent decisions. I feel as long as you are experienced enough, you have seen, say, 200 to 500 cases of each cancer, and you have handled them independently, you are ready to start your own private practice. People jump very fast. Sometimes some students have done DNB from private institute. Some of the cancers they have not seen, and they start private practice. I feel it's too soon. But yes, as soon as you are ready, sooner the better, but take your time also.
Do you have any regret that you started your private practice a little late?
Yes, I have. Should have started. See, when I was in Tata Hospital, at that time, I always felt that unfortunately there are so many patients in Tata Hospital, and every year the numbers are growing. Even though we all wanted to give a personalized touch, we were not able to. If I have to see 100 patients in an OPD in 8 hours, how can I give personalized this thing? So आई ऑलवेज वांटेड कि कोई एक ऐसी जगह हो जहाँ पे मैं एक पर्सनलाइज टच दे सकूँ. I should have started that 8 years earlier, but I worked in Tata Hospital. Then I worked in Max Hospital. I worked in between in pharmaceutical company. I would have said that Tata Hospital में जो मैंने 5 साल किया as a consultant, वो 3-4 साल होने के बाद, if my bent is towards private practice, I should have started that time.
How was your time at the pharmaceutical company?
Very interesting, and that's where I feel MBBS से लेके DM तक और MCH तक, what we are not taught is career in pharmaceutical industry. I couldn't settle there. The life was very nice. 5 बजे शाम को मैं घर पहुंच जाता था. 5:30 अगर कभी हुआ तो बीवी फ़ोन करती थी, आज लेट हो रहे हो. Today I don't reach before 10 p.m. in the private practice. It was very nice. Work-life balance was good, and you were making a difference. Slowly, but you were making a difference. I was involved in their clinical trials and setting up their research program, but I was lacking and I was missing seeing patients because probably I was never taught from MBBS time कि ये भी एक career path होता है. I met so many of my colleagues in UK. I was working in a multinational company. So UK, US, Switzerland, Singapore. And I saw many of them very happy in that field. I couldn't adjust. Either probably I was not meant to, or probably I was not exposed to. So I feel that there should be a separate chapter in every curriculum that pharmaceutical industry is one career path which people can look at. Those who are interested, they should explore that.
Even the salary must be pretty good there.
The salary was good compared to what senior doctors can earn. उसके comparison में, see, right now, India में हर field में sky is the limit, right? You do a business, sky is the limit. You are a good CA, this thing. So similarly, senior doctors can make name, fame, and money. वहाँ पे it's limited ना, as much as the pay you can negotiate. But yes, decent. जिंदगी में कभी किसी चीज की कमी नहीं होगी आपको.
Do you think the field of oncology is too much commercialized now?
Again, if you would have asked me 5 years back this question, probably my answer would have been different. But today, my answer is no, that's not true. What has happened? Today, I have quite a few number of patients who are alive purely, say, because of immunotherapy. Immunotherapy was not seen 10 years back. When it was launched, the one injection cost 6 lakh rupees. Now, we have a lot of patient-assisted programs and काफ़ी सस्ते में हो रहा है. If you wanted to cure cancer patients, access to newer technology, access to newer drugs costed money. अब होता क्या है कि कोई पेशेंट जाएगा डॉक्टर के पास, डॉक्टर तो बेचारा दवाई लिखेगा. अब if I write an expensive drug, I don't get anything out of that. It is the pharmacy, where they sell those drugs. But patient ends up paying, say, 30-40 lakh rupees. Now, there are some patients who will be alive, some patients who will die. Those who die or those who don't do well, उनके family, they start saying, यार बहुत महंगा है, लूट लिया hospital ने तो. So that's not called commercialization in oncology. Commercialization, I would say, is general It's not dependent on any field. Somebody who wants to be commercial will always remain commercial. Somebody who wants to be, non-commercial, somebody who wants to be mixed. It all depends on individual choices.
So, according to you, which are the best institutes in our country to actually do DM or DRNB in oncology?
If I have to choose top three, I would say is AIMS, Tata Hospital, Mumbai, then Kidwai in Bangalore. These are the three pioneers where people can do. Then there are now a lot of new good places like TMH has opened up various branches. TMH Varanasi is doing a good job. PGI Chandigarh is doing a good job. AIM Rishikesh is doing a good job. So these are the places. In Delhi, Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Hospital has a good DNB program. Not the DM, but DNB program. They have a good DNB program, good teachers. Indo-American Institute in Hyderabad is quite well known for that. So there are a lot of institutes. Again, it's like, students who want to go to US, they say Ivy League में मिला हमको. What is Ivy League? Ivy League is faculty, right? If Ivy League की एक हॉस्पिटल का फैकल्टी 3 फैकल्टी अगर दूसरी जगह पे जाएगा तो उसके स्कोर्स बढ़ जाएंगे. Similarly in India also, look at the faculty, look at the teaching program, and then select your institute where you want to do DM or DNB.
Where do you see this field going in the next 10 years?
I think it has already gone huge in leaps and bounds, huge. And I feel there is going to be such an exponential growth of this field. AI is going to help our field. There are vaccines which are already coming up. Gene therapy, gene editing is happening already. Then proteomics, genomics, and along with that, AI in genomics. I think it's going to be a revolution. I always joke around with my patient, 15 साल बाद या 20 साल बाद यही चेम्बर में एक डॉक्टर बोले, एक पेशेंट बोलेगा, अब होता है वो डॉक्टर बोल रहा वो तो कीमोथेरेपी भी देते थे. It's going to be a past. We are going to see a revolution in the field of oncology for sure.
How do you think AI is going to affect the field?
It's going to help as long as you understand. It's like, अभी न्यूज़पेपर में आया था, if you would have seen, एम्स में एक्सरे का रिपोर्ट AI जनरेटेड था. I feel what's wrong in that. Okay. You can see कि यार ये AI जॉब खा जाएगा. I can see is that कि मेरा काम कहीं और डाइवर्ट हो जाएगा. Today, for example, I run my own center. There are a lot of nuances of running your own center. टैप में पानी नहीं आता है, वहाँ से लेके लेबर. If somebody else is able to take care of that, I would enjoy in my field of oncology. इतना नया सीखने को है, इतना नया करने को है. Similarly, AI will help you evolve or it will make you dull depending on how you take help of AI.
I think onco as a field has subspecialties also. So let's rate them. In the next 10 years, which one do you think will be the most booming?
Between medical, surgical, radiation oncology,
Yes,
3 things
let's
you're
do
talking.
that.
Not just because I am a medical oncologist, but I feel medical oncologist would be number one. That is first. Second would be somebody, some engineer told me that there's a prompt engineering program, how you prompt AI. I feel AI in oncology is also going to be a separate branch and is going to be in huge demand going forward. Somebody who understands genomic is going to be in huge demand. Today we do mutation studies in almost all cancers, but we are at infancy of understanding what is happening at the cellular level. Once we understand that, there's a huge plethora of the field which will open up, and a person who understands that is going to be in high demand. In terms of cancer, subspecific wise, breast cancer, colon cancer, these two are going to be like a pandemic. And somebody who's specializing in that is always going to be in big demand. I feel in cancer, if you are interested and if you want to make your name, every subspecialty is going to be in demand.
Sir, how did you land up opening up your own clinic? Own center, I won't call
Yes.
it a clinic, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's a small boutique center.
Yeah.
I always wanted to give a very personalized, and I was going to say in the end, but since you have said, I think in my first year in Tata Hospital, there was a movie by Robin Williams called Patch Adams. In that Patch Adams, there was a line, and actually that changed my life. If you treat the disease, you will win or you will lose. But if you treat the human being as a whole, no matter whatever is the outcome, you will always win. So that stuck in my mind, and I always wanted to have my own center. दो चीज़ था जिसमें मैं अपने डॉक्टर्स कलीग को मेरी मर्जी से पैसा चार्ज कर सकूं, फ्री में करना है तो फ्री में करूं, जो करना है करूं. That is the satisfaction which I wanted to always have. And second thing, I wanted to handhold every patient, sit with them and tell them, okay, look, boss, you are not alone in this journey. Little bit, you can say emotional talk, but that is what I wanted. And that's why I have kept the name HOPE, which actually stands for Holistic Oncology with Patient Empathy. Many of the patients, they come, sir, holistic ka matlab aap massage bhi karte ho, Ayurveda bhi karte ho. I said, no, holistic, you treat the human being as a whole. That is what holistic. And empathy, every new employee which comes in HOPE and we hire them, we tell them first, read the meaning of the word empathy and then come to us.
And that's why legacies are built.
Hope so.
आप चाहते हो ना कि मेरी बेटियां भी आगे आकर जो मेरा करेक्टरिस्टिक यूएसपी है, आई एम नॉट सेइंग वो होप चलाएंगी, आई एम सेइंग जो अपने एम्पैथी वाला एक सर्कल बनाया है उसको आगे कैरी ऑन करें, because life is more than money at one point of time.
So I tell my daughters, it's very very favorite line. अब तो वो लोग मेरी मजाक भी उड़ाने लगे. I have twin daughters and both of them are doing MBBS. So I said, dream big, no matter whatever is the outcome. मेरा सबसे बड़ा सपना क्या था? मेरा सबसे बड़ा सपना ये था, टाटा हॉस्पिटल के बोर्ड पे एज अ फैकल्टी मेरा नाम चाहिए. दैट वाज माय हाईएस्ट ड्रीम, नचिकेत. आई नेवर ड्रीम कि मुझे एमडी एंडरसन का हेड ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट होना है. आई नेवर ड्रीम कि मुझे जापान में जाके या मुझे यूके में जाके अपनी एक बड़ी सी हॉस्पिटल खोलनी है. दैट वाज माय ड्रीम. आई अचीव दैट. But I tell everyone, dream big. Like, if you'd have heard of AIG Hospital, just 2 days back, I was in AIG Hospital, Hyderabad. The gastroenterologists together have made such a wonderful hospital. If you enter that place, they have research facility, they have mice research facility, they have clinical trials going on, they treat patients, they do amazing number of endoscopies every day. At the same time, I could see that I think probably the ethics was palpable everywhere. Somebody saw those big dreams and they materialized. Dr. Trehan once upon a time must have seen that dreams. So I tell everyone, and I tell this is podcast is for doctors, dream big. ज़्यादा क्या होगा? नहीं होगा ना. But don't see small dreams, dream big.
When your daughters wanted to become doctors, तो नॉर्मली कहा जाता है ना कि डॉक्टर का बेटा, डॉक्टर की बेटी डॉक्टर ही बनेगी. तो आपने कभी नहीं सोचा इनको किसी और फील्ड में डाला जाए?
No, I told them 11th standard. So they, like nowadays, everybody starts preparing for NEET, 10th, 11th, 12th standard. They started 11th end में. And I'm very happy that, एक साल पढ़ने के बाद भी they could do well in the exam. I met them meet one lawyer, one police inspector, one chartered accountant, one businessman. I said, there are different fields other than medicine also. If you decide to join MBBS, then there are certain pros and cons and there are certain requirements. For example, I said, in your life, you will never be able to say कि अब मुझे 1 साल तक नहीं पढ़ना है. अगर वो करना है तो मत join करो. So they met everybody and in the end, both of them decided that they want to pursue MBBS. And fair enough, it's your choice.
You were a cool dad.
Not necessarily. You ask my daughters, they would say the other way around.
चलो ठीक है, I'm glad that you did not pressurize them.
No,
You showed
not
them
at all.
all the fields. But that's a great thing.
Not at all,
What would be your advice to a young oncologist? What to focus on in the first 5 years of his or her career?
Again, very, very important question. And I probably failed at that. And now when I look in the hindsight, 3 things. 1, be smart. आपको पढ़ना था बेसिक, आपने डीएम कर लिया, डीएनबी कर लिया. You know how oncology is. Now you have to be smart. How the oncology world around you is. You need to learn that. Second thing, you need to keep your data intact. आप जितने पेशेंट देखते हो, जितना करते हो, अपना एक डेटा रखो. This data is today wealth. Everybody says that data is money. And the third important thing is you should always have a parallel source of income. You should never ever rely only on one source of income. Like, this Warren Buffett always says that reinvest your profits. अब शाहरुख खान ने बोला था कि क्या पता है इसका क्या मतलब, बट वी ऑल नो शाहरुख खान also puts various how he has made his empire. So similarly, we doctors have to be financially savvy from the word go, have separate source of income, whatever it may be. Shares में डालना हो, SIP करना हो, real estate में डालना हो, whatever it may be, it's your game. But have two sources of income and go for a steady growth rather than going for jump like that. I think that is what I would advise people on that.
So if you had to restart your career completely from day one, what is the one thing that you would change?
I am here a little flummoxed by your question because I can't straight away answer that question. But I would definitely say that I would have started my own center 8 to 10 years back before what I started now. Second thing is parallel source of income, which I started very, very late. I would do that. Third, I wish I should have done more publications and more research. So these are the regrets which I have, which if I have to restart. But see, you always get 100 on 100 on retrospect, right? Only thing I would say is that I'm very happy doing what I'm doing right now. The job satisfaction is immense. Of course, या जब कोई गाली दे के जाता है, जब कुछ उल्टा होता है, तो obviously you feel bad. But otherwise, I'm very happy.
I think I can always see the passion and happiness on your face when you talk about your job.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's a very rare thing these
Yeah,
days.
I enjoy. I always tell everybody, okay, you talked about the targets. Suppose assume karo that is reality somewhere. Or you have a lot of hardships in life. You're faced with a lot of personal problems. But patient जब आपके सामने होता है, that is your moment. That is, nobody can snatch that from you, right? What you decide with that patient, what is your ethics, what is your scientific knowledge, what is your intent of treatment, what is your empathetic level, everything at that point of time you can do that. Aren't we fortunate as doctors that God Almighty, higher power, jo bhi bolo, we are given that opportunity and we should not miss out on that opportunity.
Sir, I really wish that the Hope Center grows to a much bigger deal in our country, and that empathy that you had talked about.
So sorry, Nachiket. Here, one thing which I also learned, and
Please.
you said, बाकी juniors को वगैरह को क्या बोलना, क्या करना चाहिए, how I would have. So right now, Hope Center, my wife is CEO. She's not a doctor. She handles majority of the departments. I, like a king, go sit and see patients and all. All of us should have one person like that, who is not a doctor, who understands other nuances of life. अब कई बार क्या होता है ना, मैं फंसा हुआ रहता हूँ पेशेंट के उसमें वर्सेस फाइनेंशियल एस्पेक्ट्स वर्सेस मार्केटिंग वर्सेस ब्रांडिंग वर्सेस HR प्रॉब्लम्स, किसी की लीव का प्रॉब्लम. If you have someone else who understands these things, your growth becomes better. Since you said few things, just remembered that. Yeah.
No, I actually believe that. I've taken my wife's help to start, because the podcast is getting big. We have tons of queries now, so I've asked her to help me out. कि वो मेरे लिए इतना बड़ा हो रहा था, मैंने कहा नहीं यार प्लीज आओ बचाओ जरा.
So both of us also want to go back to our wives, and that's why we are saying this. No, but seriously, even right now also, my wife is the one who reached out. Her name is Avni Vora. She's the CEO of Hope. So I feel, and that is where all the big hospitals, when I go into the details of their USPs and why were they successful, there is somebody who is not a doctor mind, but somebody who understands the healthcare well. I think it really helps. Like in your case, the way when I entered here, the way your wife greeted me, she made me comfortable. I think, I'm sure she must be doing much more than that also, and it helps.
Yeah. I think females are much more organized than men.
Yes.
I know that's a very sexist statement, but they are much more organized.
No, as long as something good about that, you won't be called sexist. Don't worry about that. But yes, you are right. They somehow certain points we lack, and they excel on that.
I think that's why God has created marriages, right?
Correct? Absolutely right.
Sir, it's time for the rapid fire now. Very simple two rules. You have to be super spontaneous and super truthful.
Okay.
Are you ready? One habit that helps you reset after emotionally heavy days.
Earlier books, now Netflix series.
Which one is your favorite?
Family Man, one. And there is this English Last Kingdom,
Okay.
which I love. But I like a lot of emotional and rom-coms also.
One non medical activity that keeps you mentally balanced.
Family and friends, there is no doubt about that. And I feel those are super unblessed who do not have family as their friends and friends. I think that is extremely important if you don't want to get burned out.
One lesson oncology has taught you about life that no textbook could.
Life is never fair to anybody. You know, there is systematic chaos in life. Do not expect कि मैंने ये किया तो मेरे साथ ये नहीं होना चाहिए या मैंने ये नहीं किया तो मेरे साथ ये होना चाहिए. Life is not fair to many of the people. This is what has taught me. There are people who should never have got cancer. They have got cancer. There are people where we have vouched कि इसको तो 20 साल तक कुछ नहीं होगा, वो 20 महीना भी नहीं जिंदा रहता है. And there are some patients who stage 4 का भी stage 4 कैंसर होने के बाद भी 10-10 साल जीते हैं. So I had to give a long explanation even though it's a spontaneous. But please remember, life is not fair to everybody.
Unpredictable.
Unpredictable, correct.
A moment in your career that quietly changed how you look at patients.
I already said that, and I still remember Patch Adams movie, Robin Williams, this thing. Treat human being as a whole, you will always win.
One thing you have become better at saying no to over the years.
Initially, I was afraid of telling, but now I am very, very openly say, alternative medicines, alternative treatment does not cure cancer.
Now that's a quite a heavy statement because you know how the general population is.
Absolutely. I was afraid. पहले मुझे लगता था, I used to say politely, देखो मुझे नहीं पता है ये कैसे काम करता है, so I'm not the right person. अच्छा हो सकता है ये करता हो लेकिन मुझे नहीं पता है, मैंने किसी को नहीं देखा है. And in that I saw, see what happens, मरता क्या ना करता, पेशेंट तो दुखने वाला है. Everybody is going to see कौन अच्छा है क्या है. But there are so many of these. 50% or half of the world's budget right now is going for cancer research. अगर एक गाजर खाने से या कॉफ़ी पीने से कैंसर ठीक हो जाता तो उसको नोबेल प्राइज मिल जाता है यार. सिंपल लॉजिक की बात है. आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट ऑल्टरनेटिव मेडिसिन आर गुड और बैड, बट इन माई करियर ऑफ 24 years, I have not seen that alternative medicines cure cancer, and I am now have become very vocal of saying this statement in front of the patient. To accept or not is their choice.
Great, sir. Thank you so much for such an exciting conversation. I really wish that the Hope Center grows to a much bigger deal in our country. Spread the happiness, spread the empathy.
Thank you so much. And I also wanted to congratulate you, Nachiket, that you and your wife are doing such a wonderful job. And I was reading about you and how you, of course, the legacy was started by your father,
Very true, sir.
how you continued it and how you made it more successful. And you looked at the God Almighty.
All God's grace, sir. All God's grace.
So I wish that you continue doing that, and I wish that your podcast becomes the number. I'm sure it already must be, but become number one for the doctors worldwide to go to. और तुम्हें ऐसा जापान से जर्मनी से फोन आए, Dr. Nachiket, can I come to your podcast? So I hope and wish that day comes soon.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the kind words. Really
Not at
means a
all.
lot.
Same here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
And thank you so much, everyone, for watching today's show. I believe Sir has explained everything about oncology in a great detail. If you wish to become a medical oncologist or a friend wants, I think this is the best episode for them to watch and learn. And as always, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, and God bless you.